Yes, this is just a Wednesday musing really. I've been working on something for Turnip28. Turnip28, what is Turnip28? Well, it's kind of, there's a war that's been going on for a long time, kind of Napoleonic medieval, and it's set in the future, so it's still been going. There's been no technology because they've just been too busy at war and fighting and turnips and roots, and you kind of die and you kind of come back again, kind of you lost your memories and stuff. So I think it's very hard. You really need to just delve. It's so deep that I don't think my video could even touch on it. So I'm not even going to try really. I did try, but I decided like within seconds to abandon ship. It's pretty deep. If you like a lot of lore, it's got a lot of lore. If you don't want a lot of lore, then you can be like me and just not read it, or just skim over it and then give people a really bad idea of what the lore's about. But what is it really about? It's about making models, making stuff from stuff, getting bits, shoving them together and seeing what you get. That's what Turnip is for me anyway. Now, I'm going to show you a model in a minute. And what I did is I bought this garden ornament. I was looking for a snail garden one. I wanted to buy 2 or 3 of them, and I wanted to kind of build a 28mm snail tanks fighting each other. I couldn't find them any. I saw them, they were everywhere like a couple of weeks beforehand. I thought I'm going to get some. Went out, nowhere. Found one place with one, but it had a broken eye stalk. So what? And I just kind of said, "You got one that's not broken?" And they're like, "This is the only one we got, but we can do it for like €1.50." And it was like, "Yeah, I'll have some of that." So I got home and put it in a drawer with ideas of what to do with it and that. And I came up with this idea of I made a load of hobgrots, and when you make the hobgrots you get a few bodies left over, and I kind of mashed them together, and they got no armour plates on the front, so I'm planning on putting some putty there, and then I put some alien-y heads on. And I thought, oh, they're like little kind of alien goblins, how cool is that? And then I heard about this game coming out called, I'm going to get the name wrong, Slime. And from what I hear, Slime's not out yet, but it's kind of a tank and 5 guys in the kind of sludge / Turnip28 universe. Sludge is another game that's out, pretty good. I've not played it, but it's kind of similar in kind of effect and looks as Turnip. You could probably mix and mash a bit. But anyway, I digress. So, thought brilliant. So I started putting my snail tank together. I even put a little crewman in it, and I was going through, I kind of just put a picture up on the Turnip28 page. I was like, ooh, wah, wah, wah. And it's like, there's rules for tanks. Because I asked if there's rules for like tanks, because someone put a tank picture up for Turnip28. And I was like, oh, what's the rules? So these rules are out for it. So I thought, right, the rules for a tank, brilliant. My snail tank. I can just do whatever I want with it, make it crazy, make it weird. And the way the rules work, it will fit quite nicely, and it'll work quite nicely. Deeper looking into the rules for it, I discovered that if your commander is commanding the tank, you get a choice of some devastating weapons. Oh, I've already built my weapon by then, which is, we'll look at I'll look at the tank in a minute, and I'll go through it, what I use in some parts and whatnot. And yeah, brilliant. So that's how I built my tank really for Turnip28. It was originally going to be for my little goblin fairy things. I was working out ways to make fairy wings to go on the back of my hobgrots that I was converting. Oh yeah, I want to do a game. There's going to be another video. I'll probably do a game design video at some point. Because I don't know if you know, but I designed a game called OSC, Oscar Sierra Charlie. It was a skirmish game a couple of years ago. It was picking up, it was doing quite well. I was getting some miniature ranges out for it, really good. COVID hit, that made it really hard to get stuff to the post office, so especially where I was living at the time. So that kind of killed it a bit for me really. Then I got a proper job to get me through, and all went downhill. So anyway, I'm going to do some more games. I'm going to do some more games connected to this. So if you subscribe, please subscribe, and then I can, you can follow the progress. And I'm going to set up a Patreon where you can then get access to my rules and updates for the rules, because the old model of how to produce rules and send them out wasn't really working for me. So yeah, I prefer to be more spontaneous and just get things done. Right, anyway, so I'm going to move the camera, so you're probably going to get a belly shot as I do it, so bear with me, and I'm going to swish it over, and then we're going to move the model around so you can see it from different angles and hopefully be enough lighting. I'm actually using one camera for this, so this could go quite weird. Wow. Right, let's try and, well, that's a really bad angle, isn't it? Look at that. That's definitely not David Bailey or Steven Spielberg, is it? I'm not wearing a dress, it's an apron, honest. Okay, so I want to go that way. Everything's in reverse. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and flip it. I'm going to, hang on, just bear with me. I'm going to do properties, and I'm going to do something very technical here. Some people could just do with a flick of a switch, flip vertically. Let's have a look. And if a hand goes here, oh, look at that! It looks like I know what I'm doing. Okay, brilliant. So here we go. So we're going to bring this over here as if I was painting. My desk is a bit grubby because I've been doing some model making on it, and the protective cover I should be using, I haven't. Right, so this needs to move. I'm going to move my microphone because it's in the way, and I'm going to move the snail very slowly. Look at this, you don't get quality animation like this on other channels, do you? Okay, it's my son being a douchebag. Okay, should be asleep in bed. Right, so this is the I would say armored snail, the tank on top of a snail. So we're going to get some. I've done it in 3 sections. I've got the display base, which I want to add some infantry to, just to sort of help give it scale and that. I'll show you a 28mm model with it in a minute. And then so also got this base here, because some games need a base. I think it's 100 by 150 if I recall. And then I've got the snail itself, and the snail comes off. Snail is on a magnet. Ooh, look, I wonder where that drill bit went. Okay, so this is your magnet. I've got a magnet here, so when I put it on, it just clicks into place, and it's got its proper home. So when I put some sludge in at the back here, and then I've got some sludge coming over here, that will all marry in, I hope. I'm not sure how I'm going to do the sludge yet. I'm going to use Yoo-hoo glue. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint it like I did on the gunge on here, or just keep it clear like a proper sluggy snail shell. Anyway, so base, that comes off here. Voila, can go in either way, so which is not bad, but at the moment I'm going to choose the best way, and then the infantry will then go into place, and then we'll have a set place on how this goes somehow. So that comes off. So it'll be made, it's being made as cheap as possible, really has. These are cork. Oh yeah, how I made this. How I made this. Look at this undulating terrain. Undulating. Look at the undulation. Yep, undulating terrain. So it's a twig from outside. Stone my son was throwing because it broke up into bits every time he threw it. So I took it off him and put it in my pocket to try and stop him from throwing it and breaking something and causing damage. We've got this here, so you've got more undulating terrain. So how I did it is I got the cork to the size I wanted into place, And I did this piece first, so I'll describe it with this piece, but basically it was the same process on this bit here. So I got my cork to the size I wanted it for the base. I then got a hot glue gun. The idea was with the hot glue gun was I was going to, my brain was saying I'm going to get hot glue and put it all over the base, and it'll be a nice smooth great hard surface, and it will stop the corkboard from sort of being flippity floppity. That doesn't work. It didn't happen. I kind of put loads of glue sticks on it, and it wasn't really getting anywhere very fast. I then thought, well, what if I just lie a glue stick on it and try and melt the glue stick with a lighter? Don't do that. Don't do that. I didn't have a fire extinguisher, but luckily I was able to put it out with my hand. Yeah, so don't do that. Hot glue on your hands on fire is not good. So yes, don't do that. So hot glue gun. So I kind of gave up at that point. Thought, well, that's not going to work. So what I did is I got some wallpaper samples, free of charge, at your local DIY store or Walmart here. And I put the hot glue on the back of the newspaper with the shiny side up. And then just pushed it in, and it kind of was bumpy, and I just did that like a patchwork all over. And then when that was done, I then hot glued on some sticks and some stones where I wanted them. I then got some hodgepodge PVA, and then painted it all with that, and then sprinkled some effectively builder's sand on there. And that is, well, I actually got that free as well. Kids local play park. I left it out in the sun to dry for a bit, gave it a good shake around. Yeah, really good. And then the colours, now I was going to paint it my normal way of painting bases, which is like an ink wash or a paint watered down, but I realised that the size of this was a bit big. And so one of the things I had was pigments. Now, I don't really use I bought some pigments, but I've never really used them, and I don't really get on with them. So what I did is I mixed pigments with PVA and water, again to help the sand sort of come down into position, and to sort of seal the sand down. I used a bit of PVA, and I just mixed the pigments in, and then just splashed it all over, and then I just did another coat of a different colour, and then another coat of a different colour, and then sprinkled some pigments in different areas, and then a bit of water mixed with PVA on top as well, and it's kind of how I got this effect. And then at the very end, when it was all dry, which didn't take as long as I thought it was going to do, but it took a few hours. I left it overnight to sort of properly dry. Yeah, this, if you can, use some proper like cardboard or something, because this cork stuff kind of flexes, and it's a bit kind of it warps and it shrinks in places and gets bigger and ever over time as you're putting PVA on it and stuff. So not the best choice of material. Yeah, so that was it really. And once that was all done, I then dry brushed it all with what's the colour? Screaming Skull. Bit of Screaming Skull. So yeah, it was all dry brushed Screaming Skull, and because obviously the PVA was mixed in with all the weathering powders, then yeah, that was that. Okay, so now on to pièce de résistance. That's probably the worst French you've ever heard, apart from on allo allo. So it's actually looking quite good on camera. I'm quite pleased. So this is, I'm going to start with the turret. So the turret is a turret. Look at that eye, isn't that eye cool? So my kids found a ring a long time ago, and they just kind of lost it and left it around, and I ended up acquiring it, so to speak, and yeah, so that went on there, and I had that sat around for months. So yeah, so this is the top from a child's drink, and then on top is a top of a cigar tube. There's no planning in this at all. So the bottom of this is from the Sakara. This is the Sakara tube where I just cut it off, and I had a really rigid, horrible edge on. So I used, I bought some of this. I don't know what it's called. It's like foam card's not the right word because I see foam card as like a hard, rigid material. It's like a really floppity, flouncy. It's not. It's thicker than paper, but it's kind of foamy, and it comes in A4 sheets. And yeah, I cut that, and I kind of made all these little armoured panels you'll see on the model here and there. Made that with it. This strip round here was made from the foam. I'm going to call it foam sheet. It's not the right word for it, I'm sure. Foam sheet, and you probably know what this is. This is cocktail sticks. I just drilled a hole into where I wanted the cocktail sticks to go. Nothing special. There's a bit more of that foamy stuff, kind of cut into a round circle. This is the banner I made. Oh, I should take that off. So this bit on the back here, it gets quite interesting now. So this is one of these little bottles, glass bottles, that I got for another project a while back. That didn't need them in the end. So I put that on there. You can see that the top's kind of glass there, but I painted it so it looks like it's got a copper top instead. This weird tube going into this is a wooden round ring. You can buy bags of them here. This tube is sorry, my son's trying to interrupt here when he should be sleeping in bed. This tube was a straw. It's quite a thick straw. It was a glittery clear straw, and so what it does is to get it to this shape, I use a lighter. I burnt a few holes in it in places, but I just got the entire straw, burnt it and stretched it where I could, and then bent it where I could as well to get a shape. And when I got an area that was roughly the right shape, I then decided to cut that section out, put it here, and then just popped it in there, popped it in that ring, and bent it and just heated it a bit just to sort of set the shape for myself. So yeah, quite simple. This is air drying clay. The cannon, I'm quite pleased with the cannon. The cannon is the most random thing ever. Guess what it is. Guess what it is. Go on. Give you 5 seconds to guess what it is. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a raw plug. So I cut the end off of the raw plug down here, and I put that in. I actually melted it in using a lighter, and then the end that I chopped off I then stuck in this end, and I just melted it all again with this lighter. It's one of those lighters that goes with the blue flame. So probably not suggestible, slightly dangerous, but there we are. And then I kind of, yeah, the end here I kind of had a bit come down, and kind of I thought, oh, guess it's going to be a goo cannon then, rather than just a rusty cannon. So, and then I just used a bit of Yoo-hoo just to emphasise the goo coming down, and then the rest of it was painting. I can do a painting video at another point if you wish. If there's interest, let me know. I can always try and do how I painted it. Okay, so, and the magnet is in here, and there is a magnet on there, so that it can be magnetised. Right, I'm going to do a quick one on the banner, and then we'll go to the main Snail. This is one of the banners from Turnip28 that I printed out. I then painted and decided it was a bit too colourful. So I put some around the edges, some very dark brown paint. I forgot what it's called now. Wildwood. It's called Wildwood. So yeah, I put some Wildwood on there, and then I just using that lighter with the blue flame. I then burnt some bits into it. If you want precision and control, that's not the way to do it. But when that was done, that looked pretty good, I thought. And then I just gave it a quick blast of matte varnish. And yeah, it seems to be right. And I quite like this, what I did here. Like, this is the paper clip, of all things. And then this bit, it was kind of cut it off. And I just twirled it around here to kind of connect with the snail thing. So it's got like a snail end. Right, so those, and that just, I just kind of drilled a little hole into this bit here where it can just slide in. The idea is transportation. There is going to be a commander to go in there. The commander is going to hopefully be printed tomorrow or the day after. I'm hoping to print the commander. So, and then also get him painted up. He'll be in there. I might do a choice of commander. I tend to do sometimes I do a choice of commanders, and then I'll paint them up, and then I'll put them in and just see which one aesthetically looks right. And then that's probably the one I go for. I just love that eye. Ooh. Oh yeah, so the eye thing. So I wanted a googly eye to go on this eye stalk, because this is the eye stalk that was missing when I bought it. I wanted another googly eye to go on there, but I asked my daughter for a googly eye from her box, and she decided to give me a pink gem instead. So I had to do a bit of filing, because you don't argue, little girls, because you lose, generally speaking, sadly. Anyway, so yeah, so I kind of painted it to kind of match, and it came out really well. So this is actually a contrast blue paint. Again, if you really want to know, I can try and find out what it is, but yeah, just a blob of glue paint on the end. I kind of dotted it around. I used kind of like a dabbing method with the paintbrush, and then with the white around the outside, I then put a little bit of yellow on it as well, a little bit, a very, very, very subtle yellow. There's actually a very subtle yellow around this eye as well. You don't notice it, but I know it's there. So yeah, I don't know if that'll come out in time, but yeah. So yeah, I think I did quite well, kind of match those to match, and it's just quite comical because the thing just mixes in. But you've got an eye on the stalk and then an eye on the gun. Anyway, going to this dude. So this is the Snail. Now the wooden ring I talked about a minute ago. Oh God, please don't do that. So I've just been loading up a memory stick with the file so I can print my commander, and it's just stuck to a magnet. So I might have to check to see if this file's still on there, if they've been corrupted. So the wooden ring I was talking about on this bit here with the straw going into it, that is the same ring here around the eye, and then I just drilled into that and put the cocktail sticks. You kind of want to make it as robust as you can within reason. So again, these parchments are all air drying clay. This is a bit I've got from a Dreadball. It was the one that was kind of set with prisoners and stuff like that. Extreme, I think it was called. I found a few of those, and I was painting the boxes to be used in Luna. So yeah, I thought that. This is tufts of grass. I got them a dark colour, and then dry brushed them with the white. I did have a white dry brushing, and then I just gave them a green contrast, and they're quite roughy tufty now. Roughy tufty. This is from a Space Marine hover light tank, whatever it was called, the one that carries a few people around at the back. It's like a little Humvee that floats. What I was calling earlier the foam sheet, this is used for the skirts. There's a really good way of making these skirts. You don't have to cut out each individual piece. So you cut out a small length of bit, and then you just cut into it, but not all the way up. So if I had a pen and paper, I'd draw it for you, but I haven't. It's in there. But yeah, just don't cut all the way up to the top, because then you can hide that bit up there, and then the rest of it just plays out, and it just makes it so much quicker, and you haven't got to try and make it all fit. This is from, I'm going to get the name of the thing wrong now. It is is it Russian or something like that? Robo Gear or whatever it is. It had a funny name. Technilog. One of those kits, basically. That's from that. Games Workshop barrel with the Imperial Eagles shaved off, obviously. It's a rubber little pad. Another bit of stick from outside. More cocktail sticks, more magnets. So I can, if I put more fingers on the way. If I put more magnets on there, then I can increase the strength of how much it sticks on to the turret if I need to. But yeah, that's really fun. This is just a bit bob from something or other. I don't know. I think it's from a 40k kit of some sort, a leftover bit. But yeah, and it's been and these more tufts here. Tufts is quite important. So painting is a different thing altogether. So this is the stage I got to the moment. When painting the shell, if you're interested, I just found some pictures on the interweb, and one of the better ones I found was someone who actually painted one, not like a model one, but actually just did a portrait. A portrait? Yeah, portraits of snails. Hey, Snail, can you just stay there for a moment whilst I do your portrait? Please don't move. No, it was a kind of a painting of a snail, and it was really good because the way it looked into the colours, and I compared it to photos, and there's like little pinkishnesses in them and stuff like that. So I just tried to emulate that as much as I could, and as simply as I could as well. A lot of it's just dabbing paint on and just hoping for the best, and a lot of it is contrast and inks. So yeah, I've been really pleased with it. So the main colour for this here on top was actually the Agros Dunes, interestingly enough. So, and then I got some pinks which I just mixed them. It looks awful underneath. Look at that. Ooh, it's awful. But you're never going to see underneath there, are you? Unless some idiot picks it up and turns it up to the camera. Oh, the rains. The rains. Not the rains in Spain that land lazy on the plane, but the rains. Yeah. So, my wife complimented on how much they look like leather. What she doesn't know is I use a special leather paint. But anyway, so this is what I call the foam sheet. Again, cut into very long strips. They're both the same length, but what I did is I joined them on here, and then this one went up to there. And originally this one hung down as well, but I was like, hang on a minute, the snail's kind of looking in this direction, so you need this one to be tighter. So I kind of unpinned it from where it was, and I just poked it deeper into the hole. I drilled holes in for these to link into. Just gives you a stronger point to glue into rather than just having them resting on the side. And then I kind of imagine some guy inside sort of like pulling and on the reins to sort of try and get the snail to go in the right direction. But there you are. So effectively we have dun, dun, dun. That's the front. Snail comes on here, and then this board just moves up and clicks and is then on there firmly for gaming, whatever. If I want to do some arty photos like going across some carrots on turnips, I can just take it off and go, or again, or I could just, if I just decide that this base is just so flipping awful, because it's not great. It's not great. It's not the best base I've ever done. Certainly one of the more interesting ones, but yeah. And then the display one was kind of turned upside down because the other way up, which I would have preferred, was too small for this bit. You see, that's just rubbish, isn't it? It's just the wrong size. But I can't get any more of these neither. These are the ones that I've only got two. I've got to make them work for everything. So I might just do that as well. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? Oh, that'd be lovely. Just a snail like that. But yeah. So next up is this isn't a finished project by any means, so please subscribe if you want to see how this carries on and goes along. Please like to let me know that someone's actually watched it to some extent or whatever. And help me get the algorithm. Yeah, whatever it is called. The algorithm. Just the algorithm. It's all about the algorithm apparently. I have no idea. I have no idea. I just want you to enjoy what I do and enjoy what I do with me. And maybe, just maybe, you guys can help inspire me to do more, and I can inspire you to do more. And I started this probably about a week ago, sort of constructing it and all that. So doing it in bits and bobs. I had some quite major moments with it over 4 days because it was kind of a long bank holiday weekend in Germany. But yeah, there you are. So I think next, I want to put this. I really desperately want to put the sledge on. I want to make it go over this. So what I'm probably going to do is get some of the blister packet stuff and put that in the divide down here. So when I do it, I can kind of make it match up. That might be a really bad idea. You might have a better idea how I can do this. Maybe I just treat them as two separate models and then just clean up the edges afterwards. Yeah, but I can't really do that until I've decided that this is how I want the base to look, because I need the slime to go over however the base finally looks. Or maybe I'll get some Vallejo thick mud middle of the month if I can afford it, or something. I'm going to set up a Patreon, So if you want to, or if you like to, you can buy me a beer, or you can put some money into the hobby fund and get your name on it. We can maybe get this finished and get it done. Oil wash is next as well. So on this anyway, this is pretty much, I think, painted now, apart from the commander, but he can be added at any point. Yeah, oil wash is the plan, just to make it more Turnip28. Oh, I promised you, I didn't promise, I don't really make promises, but yeah, I said I would show you how big it was, didn't I? Oh, hey, Mrs. Ooh, the promises I make. Right, so just doing this, you can see how big it's going by hand, but that's not really helpful because they've all got different size hands. But all hobgoblins are the same, and that's how big the hobgoblin is. I actually imagined it being piloted by hobgoblins to begin with. So I might get some hobgoblins and put some Turnip28 helmets on them, and then make a hobgoblin driver to go in top. In top. You were. Oh my god, my Somerset. The Somerset. You can take the Somerset boy out of Somerset, but you can't take the Somerset out of the Somerset boy. So, yep. Anyway, there we are. So, fingers crossed, we'll get some more done soon. And hopefully, I'm going to try and do a video most days. I hope. We'll see. All right. Anyway. Thank you if you got this far, then you're mental, and thank you so much. All the best. Cheers.